Well, now we're going to move on to a public hearing, and it is item number 17625, public nuisance abatement of a dangerous building and confirmation of abatement cost, 45 Soledad Street. We will have the Deputy City Attorney, Anais Aquino, make the report. Anais.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and distinguished council. My name is Anais Aquino. I have a brief report on today's public hearing item regarding the property at 45 Soledad Street, commonly known as the former Swinging Door Motel. As the council is aware, in mid-March, a large fire broke out at the site of the old Swinging Door fire at 45 Soledad Street. During the course of the fire, both the roof and the second floor completely collapsed, leaving the exterior walls of the building completely horizontally unsupported. And at some point during the fire, one of those exterior walls fell. The fire department was on the scene of the fire for about 2 days, both extinguishing the blaze and conducting their investigation. And at the conclusion of the fire, 3 exterior walls remained and a pile of fire debris. And at the conclusion of the fire, the building official toured the site and determined that the remaining structure, the structure that remained, posed an imminent risk of collapse. On March 23rd, the building official issued a written notice of violation, finding that the structure was unsafe and ordering its immediate and expedient demolition pursuant to his authority under the California Building Code. The notice of violation, commonly referred to as an NOV, was hand-delivered to the property owner at the time and referred to in your staff report as RAN LLC. Around that same time, Mr. DeSante also caused to be recorded a notice of pendency, or an NOP as we refer to it, on title with the county recorder's office. And that notice essentially puts the world at large, the property owner, and all subsequent interested parties on notice that building violations existed on the property. This is a matter, of course, we do routinely on code enforcement and building properties. Over the course of several weeks, in an effort to secure the site, to secure the property, the city engaged in an ongoing dialogue about what to do next, perhaps purchasing the property itself or continuing with a construction or abatement itself. Ultimately, when discussions regarding purchasing the property didn't come to fruition, the city moved forward with abatement options. All of these discussions were in an open and ongoing conversation with the owner, the affected neighbors, Chinatown stakeholders, to include the property's immediate adjacent neighbor, the Victory Mission, which is immediately next door to the old Swinging Door building. On June 12th, the city attorney's office, with the assistance of the building official and the fire marshal, obtained an order from Monterey County Superior Court ordering the abatement of the building. And later that same day, the city became aware that Victory Mission had acquired the Swinging Door property from RAN LLC. The city immediately made contact with Victory Mission, both in writing and by telephone. The city confirmed that the Victory Mission was aware of its abatement plans, aware of the imminent and extremely dangerous condition of the building, and also made sure that Victory Mission was aware of their responsibility for the costs. The city provided written notice to the Victory Mission on that same date, and that's attached to your staff report as well, and it's the notice of emergency abatement, as well as the proof of service. The effort to bring the remaining structure down was led by the city's code enforcement division as well as public works, and we contracted with a demolition contractor, Randazzo Enterprises, who spent about 2 weeks to bring that building down brick by brick at a cost of $390,270.73. This includes the entire cost of abatement, clearing all of the asbestos materials, the fencing, as well as all the staff time associated with this effort that's authorized in Chapter 1 of the city's municipal code. The city did send invoices, demand letters, and other correspondence to the Victory Mission asking for repayment of this amount. Those are attached to your staff report and were sent on September 18th and October 20th. Last month, on November 17th, the city provided notice to Victory Mission of today's public hearing. And since that date, we have received correspondence from council for Victory Mission raising several points. The Victory Mission stated that the city should have provided notice to them of its abatement when we were providing notice to RAN LLC, the owner of record. The Victory Mission believes the cost of abatement was too high. The Victory Mission believes that the staff time and costs associated with addressing the public nuisance, although, as I mentioned, authorized in Chapter 1 of the Municipal Code, should not be factored into this amount tonight. And the Victory Mission also believes that the city was made aware of their intent to purchase the property prior to abatement. And lastly, the city Victory Mission raised concerns about the city's public bidding requirements. Even though there was an emergency posed by the building and the structure, the Victory Mission has raised that point as well. Today's resolution before you makes several points. It confirms the building official's determination that the building posed an imminent risk and a health and safety concern to the community at large. It finds that the structure was also in violation of the building code and posed a public nuisance. The resolution finds that abatement by the city was appropriate in light of all of these circumstances. The resolution confirms that the amounts expended of $390,270.73 were reasonably and necessarily incurred in abatement. And lastly, it directs the city attorney for further cost recovery efforts as to this abatement effort at 45 Soledad. That concludes I tried to keep it brief, Mr. Callahan. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. I will start to my left. Councilmember McShane, any questions?
Yeah, I mean, you can cut through all the letters, the documentation. I mean, clearly we have Victory Mission up against a wall. There's no doubt. We can roast them, and we have grounds for it. I'm anxious to hear a little bit more from their side of the story outside of all the legal pieces to this. Have you had a chance to visit with them since this was posted, and what have you heard in response to your report?
Yes, I believe counsel for Victory Mission is here. Mr. David Balch, who's a local attorney we're all very familiar with, and I believe he will have a chance to speak in a few minutes. But Mr. Balch and I have been in regular communication.
Options?
And that would all be at the discretion of the city attorney and, of course, the council. If the council wants to provide further direction as to how the city should proceed with cost recovery efforts. In the past, we have liened properties. As the council's aware, we have done a special assessment. I don't know that we've done a special assessment of this size. There's civil remedies as well, and all of those are authorized under Chapter 1 of the Municipal Code.
Sure, and have some of those options been discussed?
I believe that would be forthcoming upon the direction of the council.
How about prior to? Has there been any discussion with them about these options?
With Victory Mission
Yeah.
and myself, I haven't been authorized to have those conversations.
Okay. And I'm anxious to hear from legal, and perhaps it might be worthy depending. We're not in a lawsuit at this point.
No, we're not.
Yeah, it might be worth further discussion pending how it goes today.
We'll be going to public comment after council members' questions.
That's
and then
it.
We'll bring
Okay.
it back for comments from council.
Sure.
To my right, questions, Councilwoman De La Rosa.
No, I don't have any questions because I'm very familiar with the area since I represent that area. And we also have some of the community members that sit on the Soledad Downtown Board. I see some of them here, and I want to hear the rest of the comments, but yeah, I don't have any questions. I'm very familiar on the project.
Thank you. Councilmember Barrera, any questions?
Yes, Director Aquino, thank you for your report. And it sounds like this is a business situation where in your reporting right now, you mentioned that I guess the board of directors from Victory Mission was aware of the situation with the building right before they bought it. Is that right?
That is what my understanding is. But first, I should point out to the council, this is the immediate adjacent neighbor to the Victory Missions building on Soledad Street. The building caught fire in a very dramatic way. The fire department had control of the scene for several days. Parts of the street were blocked off. The building was posted with notices indicating how dangerous it was to enter the property. It would, just from that indication alone, was Victory Mission aware of the dangerous condition of the property? My opinion is yes.
Your what?
My opinion is that yes, they were aware.
So when the building burned down, that was already the property of Victory Mission?
No, at the time of the fire, it was the property owner was an LLC.
Okay.
RAN LLC. It changed hands in June 2017.
Okay. And you're saying just one last question, because it's a sensitive issue. So was the city was forced to clean it up because of the health hazard? Is that right?
The city was put in a position where no responsible party was taking any action to remediate the dangerous conditions posed by the building. And it was the building officials' determination that the building could fall at any time. And given the well-traveled neighborhood, that it posed a serious and real risk to the community.
So with all that said, wherever this situation goes, you said there's been ongoing communication, whether it's by phone, letters, and so both parties were aware of what was happening here.
That's my understanding, Councilmember Brea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Scott Davis, questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question, and perhaps more appropriate for the city attorney. And if appropriate this time, or if not, just let me know. But maybe a city position on the legal opinion of the city on the response from Victory Mission, from their concerns, from their council.
Councilmember Davis, Ms. Aquino is more than qualified to respond to that question, so I'll defer to her.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Several of their concerns were raised that I listed to the council just a few moments ago. Victory Mission stated that they weren't provided adequate notice, and the city did regularly communicate with and provide notice to RAN LLC, who was the property owner at that time, regarding its intent to purchase the property, abate the property itself, or explore other options. The city doesn't have an obligation to do that with parties who don't have an interest in the property. So that would be our response to that concern. The cost of abatement was too high was one of their other concerns from Victory Mission. I'm not the subject matter expert on demolition contractors. I do understand that this is expensive work. It was a large building. It was a large fire. Much of that had to be brought down brick by brick. It was asbestos material and had to be dumped in a landfill accordingly. And prevailing wages, all of these factors increase the costs associated with construction and demolition. Victory Mission believed that staff time associated with addressing the public nuisance shouldn't be factored in, was another one of their concerns. Chapter 1 does authorize city costs, time, investigation costs, all of that to be associated into its cost recovery. This is also a matter of course. Every cost recovery matter that I've worked on in my time in the city has included attorney time at market rate, has included recovery of staff time, and it helps make the city whole. Lastly, the Victory Mission believes that the city was aware of their intent to purchase the property prior to abatement. There was many interested parties that came into the the permit center expressing interest in purchasing the property. The city was one of them. Victory Mission, although not coming into the permit center, was another interested party. That's kind of a matter of course where interested property owners approach city staff asking questions about what has been recorded and the status of ongoing open cases with the city.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Aquino, and I apologize. I spaced out for a second and forgot that you are actually the senior deputy city attorney, and you actually work for Mr. Callahan, are overly qualified to answer that question. I thought you were with a different division of the city.
That's okay. This was a multi-departmental effort of the building official, the building department, obviously the fire department. The police department was there for many weeks securing the scene. Code enforcement, public works with all the contracting. I mean, this really was an all hands on deck effort.
Perfect. No, thank you for the response.
Thank you.
Do we have someone from the building department that talks about how unsafe the building was? If I could have.
I believe Mr. Falkenberg is.
I would like just a brief summary on that so that we can understand how serious this problem was.
Mayor, Council, the reports on this building, because it's been vacant and it is an unreinforced masonry building, the power was already terminated prior to this fire. So at that point, the building was already considered unsafe on our records, and they were looking at trying to modify it or upgrade it to be compliant. Unfortunately, that didn't happen prior to the fire, and now it's subject to damage that's not repairable. So that's basically how it ended up becoming a dangerous building.
So if we'd had a good earthquake, it might have all fallen down?
It would have fallen.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
We're now going to open the public hearing, and we're going to go to the public for comment. And I'd like to start with the representative from
Hi, I'm Lili Bogard, and I'm the president of the Board of Victory Mission. I'm going to let David handle the legal stuff, except to say that we did have a quote from Randazzo for about $200,000, and all of a sudden, the city has blossomed this to $390,000. On meals, the Victory Mission serves 140 meals a day, 4,200 a month, and 46,000 a year. We have overnight people staying there, the homeless people, 48 a night. That's 336 a week, 1,444 a month, and 17,328 beds a year. We give food bags, we give blankets, we give coats, food for women, children, and men. We also started a coffee in the morning because they were building fires in the middle of Soledad Street. Now, nobody came down and helped stop them from building the fires. We went out and said, why are you building a fire? They said, we want coffee. So we serve coffee every day. We also serve water with ice, and the people down there don't have any access to water. We do a tremendous job down in Soledad Street. And what has the city done for us? Absolutely nothing. The city, even with the conversations they have with the homeless people and this and that, Victory Mission is always excluded. You have given money to Dorothy's Kitchen, you've given money to the Methodist Church, you've given money everywhere. What have you done for the mission? You've done nothing.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I represent Victory Mission. I'm David Balch. A couple of issues, and I know I've only got 2 minutes, so I'll make it quick. A couple of items. One, as Ms. Bogart just mentioned, the original bid came in at $200,000 to remediate this property. It then went up to $330,000 because the city took the project on itself. and the city had to comply with the public contracts code. Had the city done this through a private means, it would have been $135,000 less. Here's the issue. The city actually knew 3 days before it began. And the staff report says they did not know until after they got the abatement warrant. In fact, the city knew 3 days earlier in an email to Don Reynolds that Victory Mission had purchased this property. The city could have called Victory Mission and said, hey, what do you want to do? Instead, the city called and said 3 days later, hey, we see that you've purchased it, that's nice, we're beginning to get abatement, and we're going to seek the money from you, and that was the end of the conversation. The staff report indicates that they could have gotten more information from Victory Mission. Victory Mission could have said, hey, we want to go ahead and do remediation. The city never asked. And that's the critical issue. The Victory Mission never received appropriate notice. Had it had, there could have been a remediation for much, much cheaper. So that's the first issue. The second issue, which I believe is critical, is that $49,000 of the money that's being sought here, $49,000 is for overhead. $41,000 is a 12% administrative fee, not tied to any specific time whatsoever. Only $342,000 is tied to actual time. What I would like to do is to have the city either A, charge the property owner who's owned the property at the time, which is Rand, or B, authorize City Council to enter into discussions with Victory Mission, postpone this hearing today for, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, and allow for those discussions to take place.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I'm John Bosic. I serve as the senior pastor at First Baptist Church of Salinas. And when you say that Victory Mission is up against a wall, the unfortunate reality is there is no wall. And so Victory Mission is a organization that our church has seen do remarkable things over the number of years that it has been available. We talk about in the city about being rich in land, rich in values. Victory Mission values humanity, values people. And in the midst of all of this that's been going on, there seems to be a concerted effort to do whatever we can to shut down Victory Mission. That's been my observation for the last 17 months of serving as senior pastor, and we continue to see, our church continues to see the benefits of the incredible ministry that Victory Mission has done. I don't have an answer to resolve the issue. I can simply speak on behalf of this, that Victory Mission is rescuing lives, and lives are being changed every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
My name is Chris Malizik. I am a resident transitional person at the Victory Mission. I've been there about 2.5 years, and the program is great there. You know, without the program, there would be no place for the homeless to go. The homeless need the mission, and the mission, you know, the city needs the mission. You know, where are they going to go? On your front lawn, on your doorstep? You know, that's not where you want them, and that's not where they want to be. You know, a lot of them, yeah, are drug addicts and other things, but not each and every one of them are bad. You know, they may do bad things, but, you know, they're not bad people. I work down there, and I'm proud to serve down there. I was one of them out there. I'm a recovering dope addict. I've got 8.5 years clean and sober now. You know, and I'm just saying that, you know, this program has helped me the last 5 years. I'm also a current student enrolled at Hartnell right now. And I'm going about majoring in alcohol and drug counseling. Because that's what I want to do. I want to give back to the community that I took from for so many years. And Victory Mission has the opportunity to do this if the city's willing and able to help us keep our doors open. We don't ask for money. We get stuff from donations. You know, everybody donates things. We have donors that do this because that's the only way we're able to operate. And if we shut our doors down, if it's supposed to be where we shut our doors down, if we have to, then they're not going to be donating to us no more. They're going to be donating to other places that might not be as loving and caring and kind to these homeless people, trying to keep them off the streets. What's going to happen once the warming shelter shuts down? There's nowhere else for them to go but Victory Mission. So I encourage you guys, please let them come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Joseph Rosto, Studio 360 Ministries. Firm believer in with Victory Mission. But one of the beautiful things that I love about Victory Mission, I teach Bible studies there on Tuesdays with the staff. We help encourage, we help break chains. We get rid of our own closets, our social behavior. We start digging into our own closets and realize the patterns. But along with this impact and the lives that I see changing, I see a lot of great opportunity. And what my suggestion today is I bring it to you is find creative ways to do a MedPen project on the opposite side where Victory's at and work with them. Work with Dorothy's, work with Victory, and put a higher two-story building or a multi-story building where they have a job training similar to what Father Greg Boyle did in Los Angeles, which was with Homeboy Industries. There's a lot of great programs here in the city of Salinas. Rancho Cielo, beautiful program as well. But where is it for those that come out of the system? I'm one of those kids. Costa Plaza, I'm trying to make a difference, and I'm trying to let people see that they have a lot more potential. These are people. These people out in the streets, they're less fortunate right now, but they're so capable of taking pride and beautifying our city. And that's what we've been doing, realizing that there is addictions, realizing that some people can get an addiction from opioid and a lot of different other things, but we have to just stay away from those. Alcoholism, a lot of things. If we bring awareness, education, job training, counseling, awareness, and letting Dorothy's Kitchen bringing in their, letting Dorothy's Kitchen come in and do the social impact, and let there be a multi-story for the men, women.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samuel Jones, and I'm one of those homeless guys that when I got out of the pen, everybody looked down on me. But, you know, being there at the mission, I went to Hartnell. I graduated just this past May with honors. And people talk about, we all need a place where we can have a second chance. The only problem is that those people deserve a second chance. Because you never know, one day you just might be a paycheck away from being down there. And some of y'all might not want to admit it, but y'all may have some family members, friends or family members down there. I talk to people every day about, come on, let's get your act together. Because I truly believe no matter what, they are human beings and they deserve an opportunity. Thank you.
I'm Mike Ladder. I'm senior pastor at Compass Church. Thank you for giving me a moment with you. He's the reason why I want to be here tonight. I'm busy, but I want to be here because of the difference that Victory Mission makes. Over the 30 years that I've been here, I've seen them transform lives. And I know that their vision right now is to begin to work with women, to give women a shelter. And that's the kind of vision we need in this city, because we work through Compass with the Shelter for Battered Women, and women are at risk in this city, at real risk, rape and everything else. They need a place like Victory Mission to go to where they're safe and where they get life-changing kinds of help for them. Now, my sense is that there's been negotiations that have been disingenuous. As much as I know about this, I really don't think the city is helping them here. And I think that's an issue for the council to really know about. And finally, I would say to you that the 320,000 or so that she's speaking about, the kinds of money that Victory Mission has saved this city over time from rehabilitating people is much more valuable than that. And if they're able to do this with women, it's actually a good investment for the city to help them do this. And I hope you'll help them instead of being an obstacle.
Thank you. My name is Ken Cusson. I'm the Executive Director for Victory Mission.
I've been here for just about 2 years, and let me tell you a little bit about Victory Mission. Victory Mission started in 1959 and it's been here for 58 years in the same spot. Our whole purpose is to reach out to that street and try to help those people get out of the situation they're in. We believe, as do the churches that support us, the many people in the community that support us, the many people that we get support from around the country, who believe that God has an answer for these people. And that's our whole purpose. That's the whole reason why we're there. We reach out to the people every night to try to bring men in to get a place to sleep, get a meal, get a shower, get clean clothes. We reach out, women are also welcome to come to the meal, but we have no place for women to sleep. We can't put them in the building. In 1959, when the mission first opened, the biggest problem was men on the streets, not women. Women were in bordellos. They had a place to go, unfortunately, but they did. Men didn't. That's why most of the rescue missions across the country opened shelters for men. In the last 20 years, things have changed drastically. There are more women on the street. Monterey County itself has pointed out that the fastest growing demographic group of homeless people in Monterey County is women over 65. That's atrocious. Grandmas on the street. We're trying to do everything we can. It was my goal when I came to try to find a way to open a women's shelter. We didn't burn the building down. We didn't want the building to burn down, but it did. And when it did, we looked at it as an opportunity. I will say, Mayor, it was your idea and you brought it to us, and we thought it was a great idea. That if we could get that property, we could open a proper shelter. We could bring a women's shelter there that would be state of the art. We could expand both women's and men's ministry so that there was more transitional spaces for them, more programs that we could use to reach out to them. And we work closely with the other organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Lundine, First United Methodist Church. None of us that are doing this work with homeless, mentally ill, addicts, we all know that we need each other. And I've appreciated the networking that we've been able to do with Victory Mission, with Dorothy's, with Interim, with other organizations. And if any piece of that puzzle falls away, we're all going to be in a world of hurt, I think. And so I hope that we can find a solution to support this good organization. We're always sharing food with each other and doing what it takes to support one another. We were happy to welcome a number of the Victory Mission staff to stay at our place when the fire was taking place, and they're bringing us food all the time. So let's find a way to make this work and keep all of us doing the work that we're doing for the common good of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Jill Allen with Dorothy's Place, and I'm not here to talk about the $390,000 that is owed. Or the lien or anything like that. I get it. I understand that money needs to be paid back. What I'm here to talk about is evaluating our local assets and how to acquire more resources. Ken mentioned that Victory Mission's been around for over 50 years. Victory Mission is also a member of the Association of Gospel Rescue Missions. I don't know if any of you are aware of that association. It is formidable. It has rescue missions all over the United States that are beautiful, well-operated, and well-resourced. Victory Mission is also the only gospel rescue mission within a 100-mile radius, maybe even more than that. You'll find many of them in the Central Valley. If we're going to look for resources other than government funding, talking about private resources, private philanthropy, to fund organizations that serve the homeless, this is a prime place to look. We should be helping Victory Mission grow and expand and take advantage of those resources. You've invested in Dorothy's Place, and now we've got a drop-in center that's opened almost 12 hours a day, every day of the week, social workers, and a Chinatown Health Services Center. You're investing in the First United Methodist Church, and they're going to be serving in greater capacity, and you've encouraged a collaboration with interim. It's time we did some investing in Victory Mission and see what we can get out of that for this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Oh, yes. They're going to have an arm wrestling contest over who pastor goes first here. This is going to be good.
Mark Simmons, Senior Pastor, Salinas Valley Community Church. People are shocked to see me in a suit, but I was saying the invocation prayer for our new officers. And, I have an amazing solution for you all. You can all get reelected and have shorter meetings. You just need to put an apartment complex for women right out, move from Maple Park, just put it right next. Okay, no. I am not privy to all the legal details. As much as I know all of you, and I know all of you somewhat, and some of you fairly well, and I've never met you before, but I'm not here to question the process or the legality or anything. I think you're all people of goodwill who care about the city and care about homeless people as much as I know. But I guess I would just say, sitting here, is there a third way? Is there more discussion, more conversation? Are there other options that haven't been put on the table yet that maybe could be considered? And the city has shown some really creative things. I don't know all the details that happen with like the Steinbeck Center, and we got CSUMB and things that people had to do creative things to solve problems to get them in there. And so maybe there's some creative solutions that need to be pursued, and I don't know what they all are, but get the stakeholders around the table and see if we can come up with ways to solve the problem, and see if the city can give, see if the mission can raise some money. I don't know all the solutions, but just say that I believe that you care about the city and you care about the homeless residents as well, and people believe in the mission and what it's doing, and I think they could work together. All of us could work together and come up with some great solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mayor Joe, my name's Jeff Taylor. I think it's quite fascinating the number of pastors that we had here tonight in support of Victory Mission. You have the Baptist Church, you have the Presbyterian Church or Compass Church, and you have several non-denominational churches. So all these different faith organizations and Dorothy's Place standing and testifying that that Victory Mission is a very important asset to our community. David Balch, the attorney, pointed out that there was a bid for $200,000. I had visited with Ken before the purchase. I was surprised that they actually purchased it because of the pending cleanup. The bids that I'd gotten by looking out, there were somewhere below $200,000. So I think the $200,000 range is appropriate. This is a good example that if private entity, the church, if the church, Victory Mission, had done the cleanup themselves, been given the proper time to get it cleaned up, once they purchased it, I think it's very important for you, the city council, to get a reiteration from the attorney or the building department when the notices were put in place, when the purchase took place, and then when the cleanup was taking place. There is no lien on the property. So there's no lien on the property when Victory Mission purchased it. So legality, there's no lien to collect this. The cleanup was thrown on Victory Mission in too short of an order possibly. I would encourage you to look at that. But more importantly, the value that Victory Mission offers and how they support the community, I would suggest $380,000 or $400,000. That's a drop in the bucket.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Donate this back and let them build what they want to build at no cost, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Seeing no one else, we'll close the public hearing and we'll bring it back to the council members who I'm sure are dying to talk. kills them to have to listen. Councilmember McShane.
Sure. I really appreciate Pastor Mark's words to a third way. Obviously, that's where we're at. At the end of the day, the staff report's clear. Even Jill's words, it's very clear. Our role as city council members is to protect the city. Sometimes it's a good role, sometimes it's a bad role. I almost feel like, shoot, the city management set us up. Here we are nearing Christmas Eve. It's 40 degrees out. We've got the worst homeless epidemic in the city that we've had in the history of the city. And here we are looking to stick it to one of the best providers, arguably, as brought to us by the entire faith community represented in this rotunda. I can just say that I'm sensitive to this. I tell people that homelessness, hunger, housing, those are our top issues right now. And granted, we are a crime-ridden city. You can take that to the bank, but we suffer from an epidemic, and that's homelessness, and it's complex. We have some of the best brain trust in the rotunda here today. So obviously, this city council is sensitive to making a deal. This city council is sensitive to some of the challenges. There's a couple of lawyers involved now. You have the chair of the Victory Mission board pretty excited. She certainly wasn't sending love letters, and it doesn't sound like the council or the city leadership's doing that either. So it's a tenuous situation. If I can get the commitment of the faith community represented in this rotunda to help continue to seek a happy medium, I think there's a resolution. It's got to be said, though, this council and the responsibility placed on us is to ensure the public dollars, the public trust, and due process. And to our senior city attorney, she's made a case that probably could go all the way to the Supreme Court. And around the holidays, that's not always what wins. Actually, any day, it's not what wins. So, I'm anxious to see what my colleagues have to say about this, but I certainly lean towards the third option, the third way. Given that we'll probably have to pass this tonight, there's still plenty of time, and this city and this council is sensitive to working with Victory Mission, well aware of the great work that they do in this community, the necessary work. And the last thing that any of us want to do is stick it to a provider that's saving this community a lot of money.
Councilwoman Craig, comments?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been reading in the paper lately about the fires and the damage up in Santa Rosa and the decisions that have been made by the city to help clean up the devastating fires up there. And City Council up in Santa Rosa gave a deadline of November 14th, where they gave all those residents, those that had lost everything, either the opportunity to use the city resources for cleanup or to use their own cleanup crew. As a council member, as a decision maker for the city, the mitigation on that property was imminent and critical that we get it cleaned up. I have to just say I'm frustrated with the mixed timeline that keeps kind of getting thrown around. The fire occurred on March 18th of 2017. I pulled up old articles from the Monterey County Weekly. There's an article from April 6th, so 3 weeks after the fire, where the title is "In Chinatown, Plans for a Women's Homeless Shelter Rise from the Ashes." And it talks about city fire officials say the building was not covered by insurance and damage is estimated at $325,000. And that was in April. And Mr. Cusson is quoted in this article saying they inked a deal with RAN, the original property owners. They had inked a deal with RAN on April 1st for Victory to purchase the property for $60,000, and it's now in escrow. And it was kind of one of those things where it fell in and out of escrow, I think, and then back in. And on April 20th, there was another article in the Monterey County Weekly, and it's called "High Demolition Costs Dash Dreams of a Women's Shelter in Chinatown," April 20th. Ken Cusson, Victory's executive director, says the deal, which was in escrow, fell apart when it was revealed how much the demolition of the old swinging door building would cost. Cusson puts that number at about $200,000, though city officials estimate there are $325,000 in damages. Cusson says that if Victory were to have gone ahead with the purchase, it would have to have raised $200,000 in a matter of weeks. It's impossible for us to raise that much money that fast, Cusson says. I'm in the dumps over this. April 20th. And on June 12th, the titles changed hands. So the comments the comments have not changed from the city in terms of the hazard to the building, the amount of money for cleanup costs, the asbestos issues. The building remains a safety hazard, Salinas Senior Deputy City Attorney Anais Aquino says, and an expedient demolition is priority for the city. I feel like Victory Mission knew the enormous cleanup and mitigation costs of that property before they closed escrow, and you still bought the property. That's like buying a house with massive damage that has been disclosed before purchase, and that responsibility for those repairs does not really fall on anyone but the new owner. And I don't mean to sound harsh about that, but I was completely dumbfounded that you went ahead and purchased that problem property. I recognize the value of it being next door, but if you're talking about closing your doors over a property, you're serving tens of thousands of meals, you are bedding people at night, get out from under that property. If you can't raise the $1 million for the building that you want to build, then I would strongly suggest getting out from that property. It's hard for me as a council member to have a lot of sympathy for a bad business decision on that end. You guys do great work in the community, and Chinatown is making big strides down there. The health center, you guys are doing great work, but if it's a bad property, you know, you're saving lives, I would strongly suggest an alternative for you guys. But as a decision maker on this council, I have an obligation to follow through on that resolution. I'm going to move the resolution. Thank you.
Second. And she finished? Yes. Well, I'll echo everything Councilmember Craig said. And as a representative of that area, it's not even about the services that Victory Mission provides. You're providing excellent service, all the service providers there. But remember, we have a vision. I want to remind everyone about the revitalization of our new Chinatown. We're right now, we're in, oh gosh, now I'm like, no, we're working with the county to make a permanent shelter for men and women on the Tividad Road. So we have a lot of fires in different pots. So again, I want to remind people of that it's not about the services that you provide. Yes, you are a rescue mission, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. Dorothy's, we're giving monies. So I would like to look at the housing. I have Anastasia here with the mayor that sits on the housing subcommittee, that we work with Victory Mission like we have with a jail, and we're working with the Methodist Church, that we work with them on providing maybe some monies, or I have people here from the public that could give some money. So let's work with them and make them a really successful, continue to be a successful rescue mission. But, I was a little upset too when I heard that a plan was being made for a women's shelter. And it's like, wait a minute, we're already talking to the county about doing this permanent shelter on the Tividad. So, and we have Women's Alive, and we have Dorothy's, and I'd like to know, what are the statistics right now of all these agencies providing services? You know, because we're hearing that, well, we have so many people here, so many people here. So that's my concern, but it's not about your services. So that's why I am supporting the resolution that we need to move forward and that we need to get our money.
Councilmember Barrera.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, it's disheartening when there's a pastor that tells his council, just in broad terms, that it's been a disingenuous process. And then there's another pastor that's been here 17 months and feels that this local government is out to close down Victory Mission. This issue doesn't have nothing to do with the great service that Victory Mission is doing. This issue is about collecting a debt. And just like any one of you pastors or anybody in business, whoever you are, if somebody owes you $10, guess what? You're going to go try to get the $10. That's what this council is trying to do. When I was 18 years old, which is long time ago, Victory Mission, when I came to Salinas, Victory Mission was my home for 1 year. 1 year, I lived there. Great service. It molded me, I guess, to be a council member. But to the point of Attorney Aquino, and I like what the legal counsel, Mr. Bolish, said. I do support my colleagues, but I would support this motion, Councilmember Craig, if there was a friendly amendment, you know, and this is to collect a debt. But there's a difference here of some people are saying that the city is charging way too much administrative costs and whatever the amount is. I think in order to, yeah, we need to collect the money. But I think if there's a fair process where we can collect the money, because yeah, maybe our price is too high, I don't know. But I'm hearing from Mr. Bolish that the city is charging way too much for this. So if you were for that, where they can discuss the issue, exactly how much money is owed, which is fair, I would support that. I think at this point, the amount, because there's a big discrepancy, and I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong, but I do want to support what's right, and we do need to collect that money. But at the same time, I want it to be a fair amount that both parties can agree with. Thank you.
Is that a motion for a friendly amendment to this?
Yes.
He's requesting a friendly amendment.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yes, thank you.
If I may have a minute just to talk with the city attorney on it,
Yes.
and you can go on to
And we
Councilmember
can
Davis.
continue public comment, Councilmember Davis, while she's discussing this.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's no question or doubt that the Victory Mission does serve a particularly vulnerable part of the population of the city of Salinas, one that some would say isn't well represented because of their lack of a permanent home or a place that they can call home, in the sense that we normally think of four walls and a roof. But I have some serious concerns over, I guess, a motive on the part of Victory Mission in purchasing a property which has been burnt, knowing, or should have reasonably known, of the costs of abatement or the cost of fixing and demolition. It almost seems to me that a property was purchased knowing that the cost, knowing that the city would have to step in and take care of it because money wasn't on hand, and then to have the city clean it up, and then to somehow get that gifted back to the organization. And I think there's a concern, and of course I would defer to our legal counsel about gifting of public funds, and I think that's an issue that we can't just forgive a debt in that sense. But I agree with Councilmember Craig, and I agree with Councilmember Barrera that this was an immediate need that needed to be addressed for the safety of those who are living on the streets in the Chinatown area. This isn't an easy decision up here. People's lives can be impacted and significantly changed. But I don't like the idea of government being a bully, and nor do I like the idea of private enterprise or organizations being a bully to the city as well. I would like to think that we could work together and come up with something that is amicable that everybody can work on. And so I think that there is probably some room here in which the city can work with Victory Mission to see if there is some way, and I hope there is some way that maybe funds can be generated and maybe some kind of plan to work out. But I think it's pretty clear in the resolution in number 5 that the city attorney is authorized and directed to seek recovery, but we leave it kind of up to the city attorney on how he does that. So I think there is some room for some talks and some negotiations and to work out something, but I also believe that 1 through 4, that we'll see how the rest of the council votes, but there is some facts to support numbers 1 through 4. So I think as the resolution sits here, I think that at least for my vote, I'm able to find 1 through 4, and number 5 covers the third option. And my strong suggestion to the city attorney, and maybe Councilmember McShane feels the same way, is let's see what we can do and talk over the next month or two with Victory Mission and see if we can come up with something that works for everybody so that we can recover some of our costs and maybe they can continue to serve the community in a positive way. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. As I sit up here tonight and listened, it sounded like I was closing Victory Mission tonight, and I kept going back reading the report. And currently, Victory Mission doesn't have anything on that property, and I appreciate the President's compassion and energy for her cause, and that I was almost a little taken back by the fact that no money's been given by us to Victory Mission. As we open up our grants every year, and we have one coming January the 9th, I believe, that this will be open, and we asked every nonprofit to come in and fight for the dollars because we only have so many. But that's always one thought. But I have to agree with Councilmember Scott Davis when he said, and I went back and reread this resolution, and it says basically that whatever we vote tonight, if we vote for this as it stands, there is still negotiations with the city attorney and Mr. Balch, who I know loves to talk and be a great negotiator. You've hired a very good attorney. Don't tell him that because he'll come after me on something else. But he will defend you to the fullest out there and make sure that you do not get put up against the wall, as Councilmember McShane said. So that the opportunity is still here. This doesn't make Victory Mission go away, and I don't think it's the compassion or the energy of the city to do that. And Councilwoman Craig, you had some comment on the friendly amendment?
Yeah, so I just wanted to acknowledge Councilmember Barrera's concerns, and I think it is covered in number 5 of the resolution in terms of the language there, and so I will decline the friendly amendment because I'm comfortable with the language in the resolution that the city attorney can seek recovery. So thank you very much.
City Clerk.
Councilmember Barrera?
Aye.
Councilmember Craig?
Yes.
Councilmember Davis?
Yes.
Councilmember De La Rosa?
Aye.
Councilmember McShane?
Yes.
Mayor Gunter?
Yes.